wanted to share with you something. I pulled out some of the resources that I have in the back. I was looking through the magazines to see what we could use for one of our lessons, and I happened to come upon this booklet on Ben Franklin. And as I was looking through it, I happened to notice like all of the text features that are in here. You know, there are maps in here. A little bit later, there's a timeline. There are pictures with captions. There are illustrations. The timeline is back there. There are even cartoons in here. And look at the timeline is just like the string from a kite. Okay? And I was thinking, you know, it's very easy to be able to break a text like this apart. Okay? Well, we can break it apart very easily because we see all the pieces. It's very obvious. Okay? But when we look at our read aloud, it kind of looks like it's all one text. There's not a lot of obvious parts to it. Okay? They kind of call the word that they use to describe this is monolithic. Mono meaning one. It's all kind of like one block of text. And because it's one block of text, it's not as easy to be able to see the parts. And that's what we're learning in our unit of study. Okay? And today's essential question, and Kate, could you get up and read the essential question that's on the board there? Yes. Okay, stop for a second. The question.
Oh.
There you go.
How are chunks of non-fiction text built into an overall structure?
Okay, so how are chunks of nonfiction text built into an overall structure? Okay, and I think the tendency is for us to be thinking of overall as to let's find out the general structure, but that's really not what this means in our standard or in our essential question. What that means is that we're noticing that different parts of the text have different structures. That even a sentence within a paragraph can have a different structure than the whole paragraph. And that's how this is different from what the work that we did last year in 4th grade. In 4th grade, we just kind of looked at a paragraph, or we looked at a whole article or piece of text, and I tried to identify a single structure in it. This is compare and contrast. This is problem solution. This is description. But what we're going to learn as we're moving up all of these levels of complexity, we're going to learn that many of the texts we read are hybrid and that they also vary in text structure. Okay, so I know that the substitute teacher read a few of the chapters of this book to you when I was not here. And so you probably have noticed that the overall text structure of each of the chapters is that it focuses on one topic and it focuses on the defenses that an animal has, right? Now, if you think about the chapters, how do they begin? How did they begin? Did anybody notice when you were listening to the read aloud how they began? Serenity?
I think that they began by telling you about like the animals.
Okay. Do you remember like the structure? What did it sound like? Like what was the kind of structure, Evan?
It almost sounded like in the beginning. It sounded like almost like an intro.
Okay.
Like really basic.
All right. I remember reading this part over here about the hagfish. As the hagfish eats, the shark arrives. The shark isn't interested in the whale, though. It's after fresh meat. Slowly circling, the shark edges closer to the hagfish until it is just inches away. What does that sound like?
It reads like a story.
It does. It reads like a story. Does anybody remember from last year what we called that? Evan?
Hypertext.
It is hypertext. So what does this part represent? Remember last year with the little sticky notes, the blue and the green sticky notes that we did? Okay, what is this?
Context lenses.
Well, the context lens that you're looking at. So what lens would you use on here? You remember the two lenses? Kartik, can you help her out? It's narrative, okay? It's narrative nonfiction. So it is nonfiction because it's telling you facts, but it's telling you the facts in a way that make it sound like a story. Okay, and a lot of times you can become confused as to what you're actually reading. So we know that the beginning of each of these chapters starts with kind of like a story. All right? But when we get to the second part of the chapter, when we get to the part that is the science behind the story, it's a little bit more difficult to identify the text structure. Okay, now let's just review what we learned in 4th grade. How do you figure out the text structure? What do you do? What are the steps that you do? Neve?
Look for keywords.
You look for those key words, those signal words that are telling you what the structure is. Turn to the chart that you have in your reference packet. It's the very same chart that you used last year in 4th grade. It's the very same chart you should be using whenever you have a text structure question on a test, except you have to say. And pay close attention to the different signal words that are listed for each of the types of text structure. Give me one of the text structures, Austin.
There is descriptive.
Descriptive. Give me another one, J-Roll. I can't hear you. Cause and effect. Absolutely. Another one, Elena? Chronological order. Another one, Emma? Compare and contrast. Say it. Problem and solution. Did we get them all?
Question and answer.
And question and answer, which was one that we added. Okay, so we know what these are, and you can see some of the signal words. Now, obviously, those are not all of the signal words that you could find to use. Well, what I want you to do right now is I want you to look at the second part of this chapter. Now, we know that the first part of this chapter is written in a narrative style. So we want to look at the second part of this chapter, the science behind the story. And we want to see if we can break it apart into pieces and identify the different types of text structures that we see within this section. Okay? Because remember, our essential question is to figure out how complex nonfiction has parts, chunks, that are written in different texts in order to build an overall structure. Okay? All right. So with your reading partner, you are going to read through your copy of the science behind the story. You're going to use your chart, and I want you to underline the keywords that you're finding. And I want you to go ahead and identify the text structure by writing it in the white space. You can put down P/S for problem solution. You can put C/E for cause and effect. Okay? All right, go ahead and turn and talk. No, you're sharing it. There are signal words in the very first paragraph. So. Can you point to where you are in the text? If you're all the way down here and you don't have any signal words in the top, start again. Allie, can you point to where you are in the text? Okay, so we're still in the first paragraph?
Would be descriptive.
The other plane was education.
But it didn't say
What is that one? What is that? What does that COD mean? Can you underline the chronological order and draw an arrow to it? And is it one sentence? Should it be two? So decide which one is the stronger. And you might find that one sentence is chronological order and then one sentence is descriptive.
I don't know her.
So it's saying like, it's so aggressive.
Okay, guys. I'm hearing a lot of discussions. Some of you are really fast and furious, finding lots and lots of structures. So let's kind of just share some of the things that you were talking about. So let's start at the beginning of the passage, and let's think about this this paragraph. It says, plants can't hide from predators. They can't fly or run away. Even so, plants are far from defenseless. Black mustard plants produce substances that make their leaves taste bad to most plant eaters. But cabbage white caterpillars actually like the taste of mustard leaves. So when the cabbage white butterflies mount an egg-laying attack, mustard plants fight back by getting wasps to defend them. So who identified a text structure for that paragraph? Donovan?
So when,
What was the name of the text structure that you saw there? You saw cause and effect. Anybody have a different idea? Evan?
I looked at it a little more carefully when you were reading it, and it almost sounded like it was kind of descriptive.
Okay, anybody have a different idea? Allie?
I saw problem and solution.
Okay, can you say more about that? Problem and solution.
I think it was problem and solution because the problem was plants can't hide from predators or they can't fly right away, and the solution is they're producing the substance to make their leaves.
Okay, so we do have the problem, and we see that they can't do this, they can't do that, okay? And then we say, so, okay? So we have this problem and solution. Can everybody see that now? How it's problem and solution? Now, you may have noticed that there were parts of that that seemed descriptive to you. Did anybody notice that? Was there a sentence, Kartik, that seemed descriptive to you?
Oh,
Jasmine?
Caterpillars actually like the taste of mustard.
Okay. Is that the whole sentence? Let me find it again. Caterpillars, it says, but cabbage white caterpillars actually like the taste of mustard leaves. Okay, so that sounds descriptive.
It said black mustard plants produce substances that make their leaves taste bad to most plants.
Okay, all right. So we have some, even within this paragraph that we're saying seems to be problem and solution, we're noticing that there are some sentences that almost lend themselves to being descriptive. Okay, let's look at the next paragraph. German biologist Nina Fatoros studies black mustard plants and their wasp bodyguards. Working with colleagues at Wageningen University and the Netherlands Institute of Ecology, Fatoros carried out experiments to better understand how the defense system works. The scientists put 2 mustard plants in closed containers. One plant had just laid large cabbage white butterfly eggs on its leaves. The other plant was egg-free. The researchers then added a Y-shaped tunnel to their experimental setup. One arm of the Y led to the egg-free plant. The other arm led to the plant with eggs. Okay, what did you notice, Madeline?
Compare and contrast.
Okay, so where are the keywords that you saw compare and contrast? Or where did you see it specifically?
The other arm led.
But normally we would see, if you were comparing the two, they would be telling how they were alike and different, but that's not really what they're doing here, is it?
Does it always have to have a specific word, or can you imply it?
Sometimes you can imply it, sometimes you have to imply it. As it becomes more and more complex, those key words start to disappear, or they're not there as frequently. Okay, Austin?
We noticed sequential.
Sequential, okay. Which part of it did seem sequential?
The sentence where it says, the researchers then added a Y-shaped tunnel to their experimental setup.
Okay, all right, so we almost have, from the time that they start talking about the experiments, we kind of have a sequential or chronological order, okay? Kartik, did you want to add something about that?
Oh no, I just found the text.
With it on this paragraph? Okay, what did you find?
Descriptive.
Which part of the paragraph seems descriptive to you?
It says they added a Y-shaped tunnel to their experiment setup, and it just basically describes what the Y-shaped tunnels.
Serenity, I'm going to ask you to stop talking, please. Okay, I'm not sure, maybe perhaps that one sentence, but the thing that keeps me from agreeing with you totally is the word then. Because that word then is right there, I'm going to say that that's still sequential. However, take a minute and look at the beginning of the paragraph. What do you think about the beginning of it? Kevin, what do you think about the beginning of that paragraph? What might the text structure be?
I think it might be descriptive.
It does seem a little bit more descriptive than the second part of that paragraph. Okay, so by looking at this, you can see that even within a paragraph, even within a sentence, okay, a sentence in a paragraph, paragraphs in a monolithic text, we have parts, right? We have parts and we have pieces that are put together to build the overall structure. So today, when you're doing your work and you're doing your research on EPIC, it's going to be really important for you to be paying attention to that structure. Because remember that good readers notice the structure, because when the structure shifts, it's going to show us a different part. And by breaking apart those pieces, we can analyze the text and we can take better notes, because we can see shifts in main ideas and we can see details. Okay, let's go over the champs before I move you off into